Moving on, if you're coming here from the tier 2 video, it's tomorrow. I have let my castle solidify and we are moving on to the decoration phase, which I hope will be fun. I didn't realize this yesterday, but there's blue icing as well, and dealing with the icing bag was pretty loud, so I already went ahead and put the icing into the bag, and I just decided to do a little bit of both. Well, mainly the blue, but I added some white on the top, so maybe it will mix in or eventually get to that point where we need it. There's also this that looks like a mystery airhead. I don't know what this is for. I read the directions all the way through, and it didn't say anything about the decorating part of this process, so I'm just gonna wing it, and if I can figure out what that hard putty is for, I will use it. I also have these three nesting bowls that I'm going to put my toppings into, so that I am not making a lot of noise every time I'm trying to get some. Okay, so we have these white and blue snowflakes. We have white and blue just circular balls. They actually sound like metal. And then we have some blue large, what do you call this? Maybe it's like a sugar, like a granulated sugar. Okay, so I'm gonna get started. Okay, I think all the noises have stopped. Sorry, it got really loud for a second. Today's talking topic, I hope, will be interesting at the very least. I'm going to be talking about kind of an extension of boundary setting that I'm just now kind of learning to do and actually doing, which is the fact that you don't owe anyone a reason for anything. I feel I'm gonna start decorating the back just because I don't know how this is gonna go yet, and at least it won't be on the front where I make my immediate mistakes. So I've been someone who throughout my life have always felt like I need to give people a reason for things, because surprise, surprise, that is how I was raised, was that, you can't just say I don't know, or I don't want to, or there always had to be a specific and legitimate reason for the things that I said or did. That was just how this is really not going well already, so it's a good idea to start on the back. That was how I was raised, and it has unfortunately turned into a bad personality trait, I guess, or bad part of my personality, in my opinion. Maybe I should tilt this, use some gravity here. Okay. Also should have brought napkins. Okay. So I've had a lot of trouble, is my point, in just telling people nothing. like not feeling the need to explain myself. And honestly, that's kind of made me like a target for people who are abusive, because abusive people always need a reason for what you're doing, and they want to know like where you're going, where you've been, and who are you with, and like all of the details matter. And obviously my parents were / are those kind of people, so that's why it was a problem for me personally. And it is really scary, but also really freeing to change that habit. I'm someone who has a hard time even returning something. Like, I feel guilty and bad for making a different decision, I guess, than my original one. Or maybe I just changed my mind about something I bought, and I'm like, you know what, that wasn't a really good use of my money. I'm gonna return it and make a better decision. I used to always, like, the clerk would never ask, and I would always tell them like some story as to why I was returning it. Like, oh, you know, they just didn't fit, or like, oh, you know, I wasn't sure, and I don't know, like something about the design looked different when I got it home, or like, usually I just went with it didn't fit, right? And while that was sometimes true, more often than not, when I said that, it was not the primary reason why I was returning the item. And like today, I returned a pair of shoes. I bought 2 pairs of shoes for myself for Christmas from Ross, Just for Less. And one of the pairs is black polo sneakers with a pink sole, and they are cute, but more importantly to me, they're insanely comfortable. And I don't know if it's because I've been wearing the same old shoes for like 7 years, but holy crap, walking in a new pair of shoes feels so different, and my feet just feel so much better. I was often walking Frida like 3 times a day in my moccasins or my old Puma shoes, and I didn't realize how much it was like hurting my feet and my knees. I just thought like, okay, well, that's a part of walking. Not so, says Polo. These shoes are just a gift. So I decided that I didn't need the Adidas ones that I had purchased, which the Polo shoes were $20 and the Adidas shoes were $40. And the reason why I got the Adidas ones was because they were cute. They were white and they had like a sort of like a tufted pattern on the toe area, and then they had like coral accents and white laces, and I thought like, I don't have any shoes like this and they'll go with all these outfits, and I need new shoes, so I might as well just buy the shoes. I don't know, I'm telling you all this. We're fine. That's why you build it in advance, I guess. Alright, so now we need to level up and hold the castle while decorating. Okay. This is not good. So the point of this is that my reasoning for returning the shoes was that I've been wearing the polo ones almost every day, and I hadn't worn the Adidas ones yet at all, and I've had them for like 2 weeks. And I was just like, you know, if I haven't worn them yet, I haven't felt the need to wear them, do I really need them? Like, $40 is a lot of money, and spending it on a pair of shoes that I may or may not wear in the future just seems stupid, especially right now, even if it was like a gift to myself. Especially because I also need like a coat, like an adult coat, because I don't have one. Or even just spending that money on clothes would make me happier than those shoes. So I took them back to Ross today. And I didn't say anything about why I was returning them. I just said I need to return these. The clerk didn't ask why I needed to return them. She didn't care. There wasn't even a tag on them anymore, but I had the receipt, and I guess they had some other way to verify it. So once they did that, it was just like, okay, bye. And that felt so good because I didn't need to. I didn't feel guilty for doing something that is really not that big of a deal. People return stuff all the time. Actually, when I was working at Sears for like a minute, there was a woman who would come there like literally every day, and she would fill up a whole shopping cart with just random crap that she would find, and then she would come back the next day and return like 75% of what she purchased the day before, and then do it all over again. Like, it was insane. And this was like literally every day. So I mean, if somebody's out there doing that, is it really that big of a deal if I decided that I wanted to spend my money better on something else? Like, no, it's not. And my bottom line of this whole chat is that it's nobody's business. Like, that's the thing that I didn't learn for myself. Now, don't get me wrong, my parents are WASPs, and they, even though they're Catholic, they fit the WASP stereotype. And they do want privacy with certain things. They never talk to me, as you guys probably know, like about money, or, you know, there were a lot of topics that were just off limits. Politics, anything that just seemed like improper to talk about, even though it's a part of life. And then things that were going on in my family too, like we weren't allowed to say anything from home at all. that was the lesson that I learned, and I never learned that I was allowed, me as an individual, I was allowed to have things that weren't other people's business. Everything was my mom, particularly my mom's business. Like, you didn't get to have secrets from her. And when you're not taught that you have any autonomy, but also any like personal privacy, you then give that away to everyone. You don't think that it's something that you are allowed, I guess. And it's not like I would, walk around and think, oh, poor me, I don't get this in my life. I just wasn't even aware that I was doing that. It's taken me a really long time to realize that I have been giving away information that I don't need to people who don't matter. And it feels really, I don't know if this is going to sound cheesy, but it feels really like liberating to stop doing that. And it is healthier too. Like, if you're close enough with someone that you want to tell them that thing, then hopefully they're gonna respect that that's a private thing if you tell them that it's private. But like some other random person, you don't need to tell them anything. They don't need to know, and it's not rude. It's normal for them not to have access to your information like that. And that has just been so difficult for me to understand after all this time. But like even today, I announced on YouTube that I'm deleting my Instagram. And I'm amazed at how many people are like, well, can you explain what is bothering you? It sucks because I want to be transparent with everyone, and I never think that it's going to be a big deal to say what I feel. I'm learning that it's a bad idea on the internet, but I always think like people will be respectful and they are not. Most of them have been. The vast majority has not given two hoots, or they've said like encouraging things to me. But I just couldn't believe that there was anyone at all who was like, well, what do you disagree with about the privacy terms, And is this really any different than any previous thing on Instagram? And like, just trying to provoke me into telling them a reason for my decision to stop Instagram. And like, my reason could have been that I'm suffering mentally or emotionally because I'm looking at, pictures of girls that make me feel insecure. That's not true at all. I don't follow anyone. I mainly follow dogs. But, that could be my reason. And if that was my reason, that's private. That's not something that I need to share. And so, as much as I don't want to be secretive or like, I like sharing my life with you guys. Like, it feels nice, and you know, I don't have a huge friend group in reality, like in my actual life. There's not a lot of people that I talk to even frequently. This looks so bad, I'm so sorry. I'm not done, but you know, can't stand to look at it anymore. There's not a whole lot of people who I talk to on a day-to-day basis, and it feels nice to be able to like just tell someone how I feel or what's going on in my world, or it's nice. And the thing that's even nicer about it for me is that I don't really like talking on the internet. I hate texting and I hate talking on the phone because they're just texting I don't like because it's very time consuming. Reading the texts and then writing your response, it takes so freaking long and I hate it. So like, if I had my way, I would not have to text anyone. And then talking on the phone I don't like because there's no body language for me to take any clues from. I also, you know, got a lot of prank calls when I was growing up from people who were bullying me, so I think I have a little bit of like middle school and high school PTSD from that, which is lame and embarrassing, but it is true, so whatever. It's nice to be able to chat like this and not have to immediately answer anyone, not have to spend extra time explaining anything to anyone. Like, I just say what I want to say, and if you want to hear it, great. If you don't, great. Doesn't matter. Like, this YouTube channel is to help other people, but I think that I have the right to make myself feel good in that too. And part of what makes me feel good is sharing with you, and a lot of people have tended to like that, so I think it's a win-win kind of situation, because I get to say what I feel like I want to say, and y'all get to be a part of it if you want to. I don't think that's a big deal. I know it's bad, I'm sorry. Okay, so it just really bothered me, or like irked me, I guess I should say, that anyone was on there saying like, what exactly bothers you about Instagram's terms and conditions? Like, fuck off. It doesn't matter. I'm just letting you know that, like, hey, I'm making a decision to let go of my Instagram, and I guess I just need to start leaving things like that, unless it's on my Patreon, somewhere that I know that people aren't gonna react like that. Because who gives a shit? Why is it important? How is it even relevant? I don't have to explain myself. Like, these people are not paying my bills. They have no control or bearing over my life. I mean, technically, people who watch my videos are paying my bills, but you get what I mean. It's not like an overlord situation, and one person or two people or five people is not, none of them individually are paying my bills. So I feel like I don't need people like that in my life, because it's just rude. But it's been a long and difficult journey. That also sounds cheesy, but what can you do to get to this point where I feel comfortable not over explaining, not feeling bad for my decisions, or not letting, someone else's opinion change or make me feel bad about my opinion. And I think that's kind of where I wanted to take this conversation next, is, and some people may not like this, but I'm not a fan of the way that we just drop people for having a different opinion. And it's true that, most of the opinions that people drop people over are bigger things, but a lot of the times they're also not. Like, it doesn't interfere morally, or maybe it does, but their idea isn't affecting you directly in any way. And I think that that's sad, because I love you guys, but I probably don't agree with you on every single thing. I'm sure that there are things that we feel differently about, and that's a good thing, I think. Diversity helps understand different points of view, and it would just life would be a lot more boring, I guess, if there weren't new people to learn from, new experiences to have. And you need different and unfamiliar to accomplish those things. So I guess that's my thought on that. But I'm sure that we don't agree on every single thing the same. But does that mean that I don't like you? No. I do like you, even if we disagree. Because neither of us are just that one thing. To me, it's like imagine that the other thing that someone likes that you don't is like bananas or olives or something. Who freaking cares? It doesn't change your friendship. It doesn't change the way that you interact with one another. It doesn't matter. And I know that a lot of this might sound like duh, of course, but people really do treat one another badly over a single thing that they know about them. They might not know them at all outside of that one thing, and then that one thing becomes their entire person. And that's not fair, and I'm sure that there are plenty of one things about me that other people would not like. I know what some of them are. If someone said they didn't want to meet me or be my friend because I'm atheist, or because I'm bi, or because I, have certain views on the ways of the world, whatever, like, I think that would be sad. Like, none of my character is dependent on those things. They're just thoughts. They're just thoughts. They can be changed. They can be wrong. They can be temporary. They can be permanent. It's like there are no thought police. Something that my therapist says to me sometimes, and it's true. It's not a horrible thing to think something horrible, and other people's thoughts don't often matter to you. So I hope that this makes sense and how this all ties together, in my mind at least. That, like, people are just kind of out to get you. They want to press your buttons and tell you, like, you can't do that, or that's not right, or whatever. And no one's allowed to do that to you. Honestly, your parents shouldn't even do that to you, because A, it makes you turn out like I did, where you don't understand your personal boundaries or values, and B, it's just important to know that your space is yours, and your thoughts are yours, and your beliefs are yours, and it's not anyone else's right or privilege, unless you choose for it to be, for that to be their information. Nobody gets to have a say in that for you. Like, that's your stuff. And it feels good to have your own stuff too, like, I remember when I was young, and I might have somewhat told this story, just like a snippet of it. I don't remember if I did or not at some point in a video or stream or whatever, but there was a spelling bee at school, and it was just a class round where you spell against your classmates to see who gets to spell against the other people in your grade, and then the school, and then whatever. Obviously, I didn't make it that far. And this was in the 3rd grade, and I still remember this clear as day. I was so nervous, I was shaking, I was having a horrible time, but I came in, I guess, a runner-up position or something, and I was allowed to choose a reward from my teacher's goodie box or whatever for doing a good job. And I chose this little sparkly folder that was like this big, but it had like folder pockets and everything, like a full-size folder. Obviously I loved that. Point is that I was terrified to bring it home because I didn't want to let my parents know that I hadn't won the spelling bee. I knew that they were going to be disappointed in me and like ask me what I did wrong, and I didn't want to feel stupid for making a mistake. So first I left the folder in my desk at school, but then I had to bring it home because there was a PTA meeting, and when there's a PTA or one-on-one parent conference, is that what it's called? Anyway, at our school, your parent would sit at your desk. So I knew they were gonna go through my shit, and I didn't want them to find it, so I brought it home one day finally, and I snuck it up to my room, and I brought my backpack to my room, which I didn't usually do. Kids are stupid, right? And so my mom was very suspicious once she realized that I had done that, but I had enough time to get into my room, and I had this diary thing that had a passcode, and then it was just kind of like hollow on the inside. It was plastic, and it had a key and a passcode, so it felt like the only space in my entire life that was mine. And honestly, you could have just pried the thing open, and I don't know whether or not my parents ever did, my mom ever did, but I stored my folder in there. And I just remember that feeling of like, I'm doing something bad. And that has stayed with me for so long. Like, my brain thinks I'm doing something bad when I keep information to myself that is totally no one else's business. So it has definitely been nice to start doing my own thing and having not to answer to anyone, not having to explain why I'm returning the shoes, not having to show anyone things in my apartment, not having to explain to school if I miss a day. They don't want to know, first of all, but I don't feel obligated to tell them. And that's a really nice feeling. I like it. But it's taken a long time to get to that point, sadly. So I guess I would just encourage people to think about what kind of information they're sharing and with whom. You know, do you need to share everything, even with your partner, that you're sharing with them? Like, you are allowed to have stuff that is your own. You're allowed to have a conversation with your friend and not tell your partner every detail of it, especially if they asked you to keep it private. I think that everyone expects, if you're coupled up, that you're gonna tell your SO whatever it is they tell you. It's just kind of like an understood thing, that that's your person, so you're gonna share with them. And that's been true, at least for everyone I've known. Seems pretty normal. But it's not necessary. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to give details for things if you don't want to. I'm not encouraging anyone to be a liar or to, white lie and hide things from people. I'm just saying, like, if it's none of their fucking business, it's none of their fucking business. Like, you can lay that down and not feel bad for sticking to it because it's sensical. And I feel like people try to make you feel bad for stuff a lot in life. Even down to like people panhandling. That's just preying on the emotions of other human beings and making them feel guilty enough to support you. And obviously some people really do need that, but a lot of people who panhandle in my area either aren't homeless or they're an addict. So it's not like they're gonna really use your money to get a cheeseburger. That just doesn't happen, which sucks and it's sad, but that's the truth around here. So I'm definitely not saying like lie and be secretive, but just that it's okay to do what you freaking want to do. I've also been working on this with people I should say with strangers. Because a lot of the times strangers will like glom onto me for some reason. They always come up to me particularly. They always bother me particularly for whatever reason. I guess I'm just an easy looking target. And God, that shit is annoying. Like, it's not my job to fix anyone else's problems or listen to anyone's story or give anyone a ride or help them get $5 for the bus. Like, that's not my responsibility, and I also don't have to listen to them talk about their health problems or their granddaughter or whatever. Like, even the ones that aren't hounding for money, it's still just like, could you not? Like, I don't want to. And I'm finally getting to the point where I don't even look at people anymore at all. Like, I was taught that it's the polite thing to do, so I always did. I always would, give a little smile and nod because it's polite or whatever. But I feel like that opens a door for people to come into your world, and I don't want that door open. So now I don't give a shit if they think I'm rude. Like, I don't owe them anything. That's the whole point. It's like, I don't owe anyone anything, whether it's factual personal information, whether it's why I'm deleting my Instagram, whether it's why I'm returning shoes. Even if it was a much bigger decision, just nobody needs to know but me. Like, period. At all. And I wish that I had known that earlier in my life. I'm glad that I know it now. Because like I said, I think that it's an easy way for abusive people to be abusive and controlling if you feel like you do owe them something, or like you're gonna get in trouble if you don't tell them. I don't buy it, you know. You're your own person, and ta-da, nobody can take away from you the things that feel personal. You're allowed to keep those things personal for as long as you want, and in spite of whomever you want. So I've been trying a lot lately, you know, with strangers and people I know alike, to keep things confidential for myself, because I want to, because I don't want to talk about it, because I'm tired, because I don't think they would react well. Like, if I don't want to be judged about something, then I don't want to be judged about something. There's nothing wrong with that. And people are, this was the other part of my thought that maybe didn't totally come out right, but people judge for everything. Like, I'm so sick of it. I hate it so much. I'm just tired of everyone having something to say about everyone else. Just mind your own freaking business. If you have enough time to be bothered by someone else, their decisions or whatever, you don't have enough going on in your life. And I'll tell you that to your face. Like, you don't need to be bothering other people. And it's a waste of time. Do you think that sounds good? What do you do in your free time? Oh, I bother other people. No, that doesn't sound good at all. It sounds like you're a freaking creep and a jerk. That's what I think anyway. And I think it's everyone's own decision how they want to live their life, and I might not agree with all of it. Some of it might feel offensive to me or upsetting in some way, but tough shit, you know. I offend someone else, and I don't care. I might not even know. I have had people even leave my Patreon because they had a difference of opinion with me. Okay? They never talked to me about it. They never tried to. Oh no. I relied too much on my binder clips. They have failed me. Bad binder clips. Not bringing napkins was the worst decision of this whole adventure. Anyway, lost my train of thought. Oh my god, this is sticky. Okay. Oh yeah, I was just saying that, like, some people really have actually left my Patreon because they disagreed with me on something or another, and I mean, you can always talk to me about it if it's that big of a deal to you. I mean, you also have every right to quit supporting me because it bothers you. That's fine. But why not also talk about it. Like, quit my Patreon, that's fine. You don't have to send me a dime. But do you want to discuss the problem? Because maybe I'm interested in your point of view. Maybe I said something that you didn't take the right way. Maybe we do agree, but we just said it differently. Like, all of these things happen all the time. Miscommunication is so rampant. So that's all I guess I want to say. Here's my castle. I think I did an okay job on it. It fulfilled a little Christmas dream for me, so thank you for coming along for that, and I hope that this discussion wasn't boring, and that it maybe made you think about something worthwhile in your own life, and I hope that you assert those things for yourself and be whoever you want to be. So I wish you all a happy new year, and I'll see you in my next video.